Welcome to High Riding Threads. We're doing PowerShell, and today we're going to be doing the for each loop. Okay, so the for each loop is very often used when you want to cycle through a list of items and then run specific commands against the list of items. And to give you an example here, let's say we wanted to get service names, and we wanted to say, let's get the service name of any service beginning with the letter X. So we find all of our Xbox stuff, right? And say, you know what I really want to find is the required services. So we'll take one of those names, we'll say this Xbox game save, and let's find the required services for that particular service. And we'll say, okay, let's look at that. All right, so you got two, and one of them stopped and one of them's running. So those are required services for Xbox, game save. Well, what if I wanted to cycle through that entire list? What if I want to know the required services for Auth Manager, game save, whatever, accessory manager, and live networking services? Well, I could go ahead and put those four names into an array, right? I can say in an array, just I'll make another list of things here, and we list all of our different Xbox services in an array, and then we go through a for each loop. We start it by saying for each, say item in array. So we're basically saying for each one of the items in this array that we just declared up here, we're going to go ahead and get the service name for the item, the required services, and then we just want to select the name and status column from that. Okay, so when we run this, we get a list of all of the required services for all of these items in the array. Okay, another way you could do this would be to create your array by doing the get service commandlet and looking and populating that variable with the object that results from this command. Okay, so as we know from here, what that command generates is a list of all of the services that begin with X. We just use that and throw the contents of that into a variable. And then we go ahead and we do our for each same way. Each item in array dot name, right? Because if we just said array, it would be running it against stopped Xbox Auth Manager, Xbox. It just wouldn't know what to do. You have to tell it both the object and the property that you're looking for. So for every item in the name column, we want to cycle through each one of those and then do a get service name and loop through each one of the items in their required services, and we get the same result when we do this here as we do when we just use the array and actually specify that. Just one final thing too. You may be completely new to doing this. I don't know. Maybe you've done these before, but if you haven't, I don't want you to think that when you create your variable that has to be named array or anything like that. You could call it anything you want. We'll just call it Xbox. As long as you write for each item, you could even write for each W in your list called Xbox, right? Because we just named it up there. And then you say get service name, and instead of item, because we said for each W, we'll say W, right? Because this is going to loop through and get each item in there, and each item is represented by W, and it would do the same thing as the other one. So it's not like you have to name, you can name these variables whatever you want. Just wanted to point that out just in case someone was wondering about that. So thanks.